Wire enablers such as Android, iOS, Windows Phone, HSPA+, LTE, and near-field communications, why are they important to us? Well, the answer is because they help to enable the primary driver of the wireless industry in today, and that's mobile applications. And that's what we're all here for. The WAMM Awards were created by the Wireless Technology Forum, or the WTF, to recognize the best of the best in the wireless application and mobile media industry. Tonight, we'll be recognizing people and companies that are responsible for setting the bar in the mobile application space. With the overall winner of the Best Application of the Year, will be granted a special pass by the GSMA to the Global Mobile Awards in beautiful Barcelona, which is part of the Mobile World Congress, the largest mobile event in the world. And thank you also to our sponsors, who without them we wouldn't be able to have this event tonight. Please give it up for our sponsors. And now I'd like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for tonight's awards, Jeff Mucci. Jeff, before he comes up here, let me give a little background. Jeff's the CEO and the editorial director of RCR Wireless News, the leading wireless publication.
One of our strategies is working closely with local companies like Wireless Technology Forum. So Richard, thank you so much for having me. We have 3 great keynote speakers tonight. The first one is Cameron Clayton of the Weather Channel. The second is Ian Geller of Pandora. And the third is Jay Lee of ESPN. We have a great group of nominees and a great group of sponsors and partners in the room. And again, really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. The next keynote is Jay Lee of ESPN. He's going to address multi-device content strategy. Jay Lee was named Senior Director of Product Development for ESPN Digital Media in March 2010. He's responsible for the overall product development and management of ESPN's mobile products, including its industry-leading mobile websites, application, games, alerts, and messaging. Also includes the mobile media video products. His leadership shapes ESPN's overall mobile product vision and strategy for the creation and communication of product and project. Thank you.
Congratulations to everybody who won tonight, and especially to the folks in the local market. It's just great to see that kind of innovation here. I'm interested in the car folks. We should talk later. Before we get started, I'm just going to show you guys a little video here.
I'm from North Carolina,
Syracuse,
Cleveland,
Southern California,
Long Island, New York,
from the Boogie Down,
Chicago, Illinois,
I'm from Washington, D.C.
Jersey,
I'm from Philly,
State College, PA,
the Big Apple,
I'm from Michigan, Cincinnati, Ohio.
All right.
I am
Living, breathing, and dying
Phillies fan,
Yankee fan. I'm a diehard Steelers fan.
I'm a huge New York Knicks fan.
Giants, man, they're my team.
Go Browns, go freaking Dogs.
you feel like you're just a part of something.
I just love sports.
I watch football,
Baseball.
I love watching NASCAR.
Watch golf,
Soccer.
The X Games.
basketball.
watch basketball.
I love tennis.
College football start and end every day with Sports Center. I love sports because I cannot play them. Oh my, what a play!
You don't have to miss the game if you're not at home.
Pitch by pitch on the computer.
I watch my sports online.
I watch on my iPhone.
ESPN.com.
is where it's at. Radio.
I tweet.
I can follow the game
Got
test.
a giant 50-inch flat screen. I gotta see everything.
Meeting the buddies at the bar. Out with your boys. It's perfect.
Wilson throws. Swing and a miss! For the first time in 52 years, the Giants are world champions.
Sports is like the single greatest narrative.
It's about working together as a team.
To reach victory.
That's the idea of the American story.
The David versus the Goliath.
The underdog.
And we're the underdogs.
Conquering the bigger guy.
There's no script. It's just about what's happening in the moment.
All right, just picture this.
You're standing in front of the TV.
Really tense in the house.
They want it. They want it. Who wants it more?
Like, there's 80,000 of us. We can do this.
Yet another time we were going to lose to the Giants,
That game was like a movie.
which is the worst.
It's like a perfect storm.
And then Deshaun Jackson's on the field, and you're like, he could do this.
You could hear a pin drop.
And you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Deshaun Jackson, therefore the medal is number 2.
I don't know.
The most remarkable win I have ever seen.
The greatest thing.
You just want to go home, basically.
Any moment something like that can happen.
This is the pitch.
Justin Verlander has done it again. There will will be a new champion in the NBA.
I'm like, what?
Everybody's Facebook status was just all in caps.
And it's done! The Auburn Tigers are college football's best. The Lombardi Trophy is going back home.
I jumped off.
The couch screaming.
Got it, LeBron!
Oh, yes!
Spain are the world champions at last.
No, mira, te lo dije.
Dogs ran under the bed.
Yes!
And the phone's ringing and you're texting, but you don't really have time to answer anybody.
In your face, told you so.
Yeah, that's my team.
I mean, it was just crazy.
That's the power of sports.
Can they do it here? Cross, and Dempsey's denied again. And Donovan has scored! Oh, can you believe this? USA! Oh, it's incredible!
It's like a club, but it's a club that contains millions of people, and we all love sports.
My grandfather, my father, and myself can all come together on one accord and watch something that is meaningful to all of us.
Whenever I go to baseball games, I always think of my dad.
I live 10 hours away from him, but through sports, we're connected.
There's a certain power that comes from watching sports and watching those great moments happen. At its absolute best, it's magic.
This is how we connect. We connect through sports.
All right, thanks. That's my presentation. I was joking with Roy over here that video is so good that me getting up here, it's kind of like a post-game news conference, you know, it's just, all right, not everyone's watching. But I love that video for several different reasons. One, the most important reason is it talks about the fan, right? It's all about the individual fan and what they love, and that's what we think about. That's what we come into work to do every day. John Kozner has a quote about how those fans are starting to use mobile devices more and more for us. He says, a combination of social media and mobile devices changes everything. Fans are part of the evolution, right? And what that means to us, simple terms, just basically means there's so much persistent connectivity now. Everybody's connected. You guys are all probably getting alerts right now about your fantasy lineups or scores, at least I am. And you know, we're really changing the game in terms of how we interact with our content. For us, that usage is coming increasingly from mobile devices, right? We have this metric that we use across all platforms called average minute audience. And what that does is it basically just tells you at any given point in the day how many people are using your properties, right? So for TV, at any given minute, how many people are watching ESPN, watching ESPN2, listening to ESPN radio, etc., right? So for us, the mobile average minute audience is surging. It's grown almost 50% in the last year. And the actual number, I think this will probably go on Twitter, so I should rough it, but it's about 100,000 people at any given minute are using ESPN mobile web, ESPN apps, or getting an alert. Okay, 100,000 people at any given minute. So you might think, well, what does that really mean? How does that really compare scale-wise to everything we do? ESPN mobile would be the 4th largest network that we have if you took all the total minutes consumed. If you think about it, that's kind of remarkable, right? Because when you watch ESPN, you watch ESPN2 or ESPN News or ESPN Classic, you're parked for a good 45 minutes to an hour, especially if you're watching a 30 for 30 film, right? Mobile, the consumption is fast, quick in and out, and for all the total minutes to add up to something like this is pretty remarkable. If you add ESPN.com with ESPN Mobile, then we actually trump ESPN2. So we don't tell the ESPN2 guys that often. And it's not just in these macro numbers that we see this change, but it's in everyday usage, right? There's a stat that we like to give about NFL Sunday traffic, right? We get more people coming to NFL scoreboards on mobile on Sundays than we do ESPN.com. And this was a shocker for us probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it happens on a regular basis now. It doesn't happen every Sunday, but it does pretty often. And then fantasy. It's another anecdote here, right? For every person that's checking a fantasy score, a tethered desktop or laptop, there's 4 people who are checking on iPads, mobile web, or the apps. Okay, so tremendous usage, and it doesn't mean that less people are checking on ESPN.com. That number's going up as well. It's just as the whole tide rises, the mobile growth is that much more exponential. Right? I wish that was a story that I could tell about just ESPN, but it's not the case, right? In the sports category, we're certainly not alone. You've got great leagues, rights holders who are producing amazing content, taking full advantage of their video, and putting out some really good applications and products. We compete with Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google, Social networks, or they used to be social networks, and if you guys all watch the F8 conference, you know where Facebook is going now. They're already a music provider. They're going to be a TV network of sorts. We're not afraid to put our content there, though, as Cameron alluded to earlier, it has to be in the right box. But and then what I like to think about a lot with my product team is some of these upstarts, right? Some of these folks who don't have the power of a TV channel behind them like ESPN does. You got guys like Bleacher Report, HitPost, Score Mobile. These are just examples. I could name a whole list of people that are putting out really amazing applications, and they're doing things differently. They're taking citizen journalists, they're taking user-generated content, they're combining it with a social focus at its core, and they're starting to make some noise. And so we see these guys as being important parts of the landscape as well. So the sports category overall, all of these contributors add up to about 40% increase year over year. We're still leading and still beating that metric by a few percentage points, but it just goes to show you, everybody, again, it's a revolution, right? Social media consumption in sports on mobile. So the question we ask ourselves then, how do we compete, right? A lot of you guys that are being honored here tonight, a lot of the award winners are all leaders in the space, right? CNN, Weather, Pandora. You guys are probably asking yourselves the same question. How do you stay ahead of the game? I'm glad to hear Cameron to go first. We didn't actually coordinate our slides or anything, but he talked about personalization. And for us, that's the answer, right? It's all about deeper personalization, great fan experiences. We've done a tremendous job as ESPN over the last several years in reaching millions of people. And now we're thinking about how do we reach millions of individual fans, right? We like to call them millions of audiences of one, right? That's how we think about our fans. And it's all about creating a great personal experience for them. What does that mean for us? It means an experience that's designed for you. It's designed for your handset. It means content that matters to you. And it's not just about content that matters where you are or where you're located, but it's about your favorite stuff, right? All of you guys, how many sports fans do we have in here? What, half the room, 75% of the room? I bet you, being here in Atlanta, a lot of you are Hawks fans, Falcons fans, Braves fans, right? But you all probably went to different alma maters, and then your spouses probably are from either West Coast, East Coast, South, Northeast. There's a lot of concentric circles in terms of fandom, but I guarantee you there's not one single overlap, right? I grew up in the Canary Islands in Spain, so I like soccer, and I like Real Madrid, even though they're the evil empire. We used to get 8 TV channels where I lived in the Canary Islands, and one of them, I don't know why, I don't know how, but it was the WGN Superstation, right? Okay? So when it comes to U.S. sports, I'm a diehard Bulls, Bears, and Cubs fan, right? So I know you Hawks or Braves fans out here are feeling a little low these days, but just remember, you've had a World Series in the last 100 years. And then, my parents are from Korea. I follow that team when it comes to World Cup soccer, and my alma mater is UVA. And we used to be relevant and revenue-generating sports, back on the upswing, football and basketball. So, I guarantee there's nobody who has that profile in this room or even outside this room, right? So we think about those individuals. When I come to ESPN as a fan, it's that experience that I want, right? I want content around all of those teams, and I want it at the same level of quality. I don't want to just get great information about the Bears, but I want great information about UVA football, right? That's true personalization. Then it's about wherever you are, whether you're digitally placed inside of social networks, or whether you're in a stadium or at a wireless award show, right? Being able to connect you with content and people that matter to you. So how are we doing this? One, it's about your device, okay? If you look at mobile web, which is our largest aggregator of traffic, tells a story of how things are changing for us, right? June 10, that's the World Cup from last year. You guys, that wasn't that far, wasn't that long ago. BlackBerry was still the #1 smartphone platform for us, had about 35% share. iPhone steady at about 20-25%. Android was about 15%. In December of 2009, when the Droid first came out, Android was about 2% of our mobile web traffic. So just in 6 months, it surged up to 15%. And just a year later, top OS, in terms of mobile web traffic, Android. And that gain is coming obviously at the expense of BlackBerry. I'm sure many publishers here have the exact same story. Right? We launched our iPhone mobile website in 2007. Started driving a ton of traffic for us. And it was the sole device that we really had to support. You know, but I remember watching Steve Jobs' keynote a few weeks ago from when he introduced the iPhone. And it's amazing to think about how fast things have changed. There was a roar in the crowd when he swiped the phone for the first time and scrolling happened. Everyone was like, wow, that's crazy, you know, and we take it for granted. But that was the site that we needed to create when the iPhone launched. We put a lot of energy and effort into that. And then since then, things have just exploded, right? Android devices out there, I think there's over 400 different kinds of Android devices out there. None of them have the exact same browser implementation as others. We've got tablets out there. And so for us, you know, being innovators in the space meant building a very good or a great mobile optimized website. ESPN.com was always on the side in this other place, right? And with tablets, all of that has changed. The two are colliding where we can do everything that we want to with ESPN.com, but we still want to bring all the beauty and utility of our mobile website into the platform, right? So we see a vision for ourselves on mobile web at least, of taking that utility, touch optimization, performance of mobile, bringing it together with familiar content, everything you know and love about ESPN.com, and having one great touch experience that works across all browsers. That's smartphones, tablets, fridges, wall monitors, what have you. And it's going to take some time, right? Cameron alluded to being incremental in your development, and we're certainly taking small steps to get there. This past summer, we relaunched our mobile website on smartphones. Some people love it, some people hate it. Still early days, but the beauty about it is we're combining all of the content experiences from our different groups, ESPN.com, mobile web editors. It's a touch optimized experience. It's modular in its design, so it works in different orientations. This was our goal. We wanted to have a mobile web experience that if you bought a Kindle Fire or an iPad or whatever device, that when you went to ESPN.com in the browser, it would just work. So we think we're getting very, very close to that. So personalization is all about your device, right? It's also about getting your scores fast, okay? And the best way to do this for us right now is through alerts. I don't know if any of you guys are old-time SMS subscribers for ESPN alerts. We have probably somewhere in the range of, I think, 10 million active alert subscribers a month, okay? Most of that is coming through push notifications now on our iPhone apps. And that equates to about 1 billion alerts sent every month, 1 billion messages. That's about 5% of all of Apple's APNS traffic. So huge scale, but we think we can take this to the next level, right? If this is the experience today, that's personal, it feels like it's still a little bit rigid in terms of alerts. I know people think, well, alerts they are what they are. They don't have a long way to go. But for us, we think we can take this further. We want to see alerts go from something where the device is essentially talking to you and pushing out information to you in set intervals to you talking to the device, right? Just basically saying, what's the score of my teams? This isn't that far away. I mean, that's not a made-up screenshot, right? That's a phone that exists now. I don't know how many people here have actually gotten their hands on it, but pretty phenomenal technology from iPhone 4S, something that's been on Android devices before, right? So this is how we see the evolution of alerts. But that's, you know, that's alerts, that's mobile web, that's not really why we're here. This is an application award show, so let's talk about that a little bit. Personalization, a great personal experience, is about the apps that you need, right? Phenomenal area of growth for ESPN. We see about 5 times the amount of growth in app users as we do mobile web, right? So about, if you look at the last 12 months, we had 20% growth year over year in terms of mobile web users. We had 100% growth in app users. Right? And we've learned a lot about how to do apps and what not to do with apps, and hopefully you guys can take something from that. We started out experimenting in 2009. We launched Score Center, which is supposed to be a very lightweight application, just give you scores for teams that you cared about. And then we decided, hey, this is a really open marketplace, right? People can discover content really, really easily. So why don't we try and build apps for niche markets? And we've got a lot of different content channels that we can provide. And so we built a lot of apps. And this is the fan experience today. If you go into the App Store and you look for ESPN, you see this. And we don't think that that's really that great, right? Because there's too many choices. And what we found, to Cameron's point about look at the data and see what your fans are actually doing, yeah, we may hear from our fans, hey, we love that ESPN local app. It's really great. But when we look at the usage, it totally tells a different story, right? It is the 80-20 rule. The top 3 or 4 apps that we have drive 80% of our usage. ScoreCenter alone accounts for 90% of our daily uniques. 90%, right? So we're moving from a strategy of doing apps for everything to just some core experiences. ScoreCenter on phones, ScoreCenter on tablets, Watch ESPN, fantasy, college football experiences, radio, and the magazine, right? And we just think of it as having a place where you can get scores, watch, read, listen, and play ESPN. Simple strategy, right? One of the great innovations that we had this past year was the Watch ESPN app. I wish I could stand up here and tell you that tomorrow we're going to launch this experience where anyone's going to be able to get a phone on their tablet and watch the ESPN networks, but it's already happened. So I can't do that. And now I know not everybody here can get it. It's only available to Time Warner, Bright House, and Verizon consumers right now. But it's a real game changer. For the first time, we're putting our networks on these devices and making them available for cable subscribers. But it's really just the beginning, right? We think we can take this experience to the next level as well, right? I'm a huge Bears fan. When I do presentations like these, I get to be a little bit of a homer and put screenshots that appeal to me, right? The question that we're really asking ourselves is, if we have these different screens now where you can watch ESPN, you have a smartphone, you have an iPad, and you have your big screen. If you can watch on all those screens, how do those things then start to play together? What can you do on your tablet while you're watching a game? What can you do on your phone while you're following another game on your tablet, right? How do these things interact? And sports is unique, right? You heard the guys in the video. It's happening in real time. There's nothing really that you can script around it, right? We're not like Grey's Anatomy, where we can put out a companion experience that has vote for your favorite characters and where we know the end of the story, right? That doesn't actually happen in sports, not most of the time. But we still think there's a way to create a really good surround experience for the games that you're watching live, right? So not only would you be able to watch Jay Cutler throw another interception or get sacked again, but you'd be able to read on the side some stats about how many times that's actually happened, right? Or some tweets from ESPN Bears sideline reporters telling you about what's going on in the game. Or you'd be able to check other scores, right? The trick here is to do it in a way that's elegant, in a way that's incremental, so that fans have the ability to watch the game and then, as they choose, go step by step deeper into the experience, right? The big mistake that we could make here is just throwing everything up onto the screen and losing the simplicity and utility of what we're trying to accomplish. So this is something that we're working on right now. It should be coming out to market soon. We think about this ultimate companion experience as taking all of our studio analysts, all of our researchers in Bristol. We have about 150 stats analysis researchers that watch every single game, right? And they put together all the stats and all the tweets that you get that say things like, the team that's won game 1 of the World Series has won the 7 out of the last 8 World Series, right? Just things like that you don't know where they come from, where they come from Bristol and they come from that basement where we got 150 people putting that stuff together. For somebody who cares about the Cubs, like me, that doesn't mean anything when you're watching the Cardinals the other night. In fact, it hurts a little bit, right? But for a St. Louis fan, that's tremendous information. That amplifies your experience, right? So we think this is where we want to take platforms like ScoreCenter on tablets. But in terms of companion experiences, there's really nothing better than watching with your friends, right? It's a picture of my team back in New York right now. Right? Nothing better than sharing the moment with your friends. So I want to illustrate this last point about how we think the personal experience with social is changing through my favorite sports moment, or at least my recent favorite sports moment that came from last year at the World Cup. Okay, I'm going to set this up for you guys a little bit. Does anyone remember the match between Slovenia and the US? Any soccer fans here? Yeah? Okay, so going into the match, right? First of all, it's taking place at Ellis Park, which was the site of the 1995 World Cup rugby final, improbable victory by South Africa, right? Over which country was that, Cameron? Was that New Zealand? Yeah? but you know, an event, yeah, exactly. An event that was presided over, so to speak, by Nelson Mandela, right? He used that event to kind of unify the country. If you've watched the movie Invictus or seen our 30 for 30 documentary on this, then you know the story, right? So that was the stage, not quite the same level of drama, but still US-Slovenia, and a match that would go a long way towards determining who was going to actually advance to the round of 16, right? Game started off horribly for US fans. Slovenia went up 2-0 going into the half. Being up 2-0 in the half, that's like having a 2-touchdown lead with about 8 minutes left, right? Not insurmountable, but highly unlikely, right? Then things started to change, okay? Landon Donovan scored a goal, and suddenly it was 2-1. Then about 20 minutes later, coach's son, Michael Bradley, scores a goal. And all of a sudden, it's 2-2, right? If you were following on our ESPN World Cup app, that was what you would get, 2-2. That's the experience, right? What you wouldn't see was what happened after that, right? Which was the U.S. somehow in the waning minutes of that game gets a foul call awarded to them. They get a free kick right outside the box, and improbably it drops in, and Maurice Edu scores the goal. U.S. wins 3-2, right? Or not. Goal gets disallowed. One of the most controversial calls in recent World Cup history. You know, I think this ref has actually been fired by FIFA since then. Right? So the goal gets disallowed. And that's the experience that you're left with. As a digital consumer, you have a 2-2 score draw on your screen, right? If you were actually following the social experience that we gave you through our different platforms, you would have seen that. You would have had conversation pages, and then you would have had Twitter. And I think the best thing that we gave you was, you know, one of our best writers, Leander Sherlockins, giving you Gamecast commentary live, right? Did a good job, has goal there, right? Sort of signifying that third goal. He's trying to tell the story there. And I don't know, 45 exclamation points gets you pretty close to the emotion, right? But we think that, you know, when we look at experiences like these, right? This notion of sharing, it still feels disintermediated from the whole experience of actually being there, right? And some really exciting things are happening in mobile right now where technologies are changing, video chatting, and some of these things are happening where this experience can go away, right? So I wanted to just share with you what my experience was. I actually happened to capture this event on my phone, and right at that moment when the free kick went in and Maurice scored that goal, or the disallowed goal. So I just want to share that moment with you here. And then it's been disallowed, right? I didn't have a network connection when I was filming that. I couldn't text anybody, right? One of the greatest moments of sports I've ever experienced. But what if I could share that with my friends in real time, right? Any of you use Google Plus Hangouts? This stuff is here now, right? People are starting to share cooking classes, guitar lessons, whatever they want. You know, I think will.i.am did a little concert where he had about 10 people coming in and out while he was singing. And they had about, I don't know, maybe hundreds of thousands of people come in throughout the day and watch that concert. We think this is very close to the kinds of things that we can do around social. Right? So I just want to leave some closing thoughts for you. It's about your fans. Cameron talked about this a lot, right? All of these technologies are great, but if you lose focus on what the fan wants to do, then you've lost the plot. And suddenly you're just delivering a whole bunch of data, bits and bytes. It's not a user experience, right? It's all about your fans, and it's about focusing on the future, right? Anticipating what they want, what they need, creating experiences so that when they finally get to that point, you're going to be ready for them. This is the great one. It's a little quote that we have up in our conference room that we call the Gretzky conference room back in New York, right? Skate to where the puck is going, not where it's been. Focus on your fans, think about what they want, imagine new experiences for them, and then build those out. And you'll be ready when they're there. Thank you.
So we're moving on to the next set of awards, which is the last set of awards, and I'm going to.
So we're wrapping it up here, and I just want to say thank you to AT&T folks that are here. AT&T, of course, provided us the facility here at this auditorium, and they also provide their support throughout the year to the Wireless Technology Forum and also for helping out WAMM. I'd like to thank the GSMA folks for giving us a spot again for the Best App Award, the Google Maps folks, and for the Global Mobile Awards in Barcelona. This is a really, really big deal. It's very hard to make it into this, and by the folks making this qualification, and hopefully it's one of our innovators next year, from this year will be back as one of our winners, and you'll be able to go to Barcelona and showcase to the world your application. In closing, what I'd like to do is to give a challenge to the developers that are out there to please keep making the cool apps that are out there, whether you're ESPN or whether you're Zeus Mobile or whoever else is out there. The consumers keep demanding more apps because it's demand that they're listening to. And last but not least, the device makers, if any of them are here, please bring us some new toys for the holidays this year. Good night. Thank you very much.